Leadership is strategic and deliberate influence. Strategic and deliberate influence. All leadership, all success, and all results, from my perspective, come under the canopy of communications. The 7 ups of successful leadership. Let's look at some of our 7 ups, and then at the end we'll make sure we've covered your points. Here's my first up. Dress up. Dress up. 55% of the impressions you make on an audience are based on what? Visual, thank you. And that means not only image and physical presentation, but all the nonverbals in between. Whether it's nonverbal behaviors such as gesture, posture, carriage, the way we stand and use space, or the way we put ourselves together. So that's a very, very powerful thing. Dressing up and being very, very focused on how you present yourself to the world. The second up. Congratulations, you've all achieved it. I often work with clients, and again, it's very typical for women, but not exclusive to women, who work very hard. And they put their heads down when they get in early, and they do everything that's required of them and often more. And they stay in at lunch to make sure it's perfect. So here's the deal. Many of us are so focused on task, rather than strategy, relationship towards a particular result. And this is one area, sorry team, where the men far outshine us. And often we resent them for it. How did he get that promotion? Why is he invited to that event? He doesn't know anything about that project. Why is he on the team? Well, it's because he showed up. He raised his hand. This is also critical, and I'm so glad that many of you stood up to introduce yourselves. Most people, and many, many women, are not comfortable with a spotlight. We really don't want to be scrutinized and looked at, even if we've spent all that time in front of the mirror getting ready. But here's the thing. It does not serve you to attend an event, for instance, and then hide in the background or stay at the snack table or keep running to the bathroom because it's easier to check your BlackBerry, or worse, go with a friend. What happens when you go with a friend, Wenshi?
You connect with your friend. Exactly.
You're like, may I? Bonded forever. I am not letting this woman go because I feel safe with her. And I know her. And we can talk all about the other people there, thank you, before, during, and after. Very dangerous. Make sure that you literally stand up. And we often talk about being heard, a voice at the table. Well, this is how I get a voice at the table. I stand up. I put my hand up. I speak up. And I'm not afraid to interrupt to get my point across. Speak up. It's the corollary. Not only is it important to project yourself personally, socially, say what's on your mind. How many of you have ever been at a meeting and you have an idea or you know where I'm going, don't you all? And what happens? What happens?
You get shy.
You get shy, and then the guy across the table comes up with it, right? Or even worse, maybe you murmured it. Well, I think we could have a fundraiser, but nobody really hears you because it's a big, busy room, and these are big, busy people. And then all of a sudden, somebody says, what about a fundraiser? Oh, yeah, you lead that team. You're the one, Ann, you're the one. And you are sitting, you just can't believe this. Now, even if they didn't hear it, it's hugely disappointing. It's devastating. So you want to make sure that you are businesslike and bossy. I like that, bossy. That's up there somewhere. We got bossy up there. To the degree that you really assert yourself linguistically, that you're not using a disclaimer every time you speak. Well, hello. Now that we've had something to say, sit back, shut up, and listen. Listen carefully. And again, this comes back to the fact that many women are comfortable with overlapping conversation, with talking together simultaneously. But that doesn't work so well in the business world. Listen carefully. Take notes when you can, when appropriate. And if it's a networking event where you don't want to play investigative reporter, duck in the bathroom if someone told you something you want to remember. Go have a drink and write a note down at the table. We don't remember as much as we think we do. Whether it's information, assignments, personal tidbits, dogs and hobbies and trips. We can't. We're overloaded. So document stuff after you've listened carefully. Give the other person the floor whenever you can if you are building relationships. And that whole thing about networking, I do networking programs, many people deliver them. It's often too much about the self-promotion and the elevator pitch and what am I going to say, and not nearly enough about what am I going to ask? How can I listen more? What can I learn? How can I make Diane interested in me by being interested in her rather than the reverse? So learn to listen really well. Then here's my personal favorite, lighten up a bit. Men often get a lot of mileage out of humor, right? That trash talking, that teasing. We tend to be so serious all the time, right? We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, number one. So if we're asked the dreaded question, how do you like my new haircut, or does this make my hips look big? What's our typical answer? Does this make my hips look big? No, no. When you're thinking, oh my gosh, if she had taken anything else off the rack. So try being more honest with each other. I don't mean cruel, and I don't mean walking up to people and insulting them. But when you're asked for advice, for guidance, for a review on a personal or professional matter, give the gift of your real opinion in a kind and constructive way, of course, and not without being solicited. But we could really help each other a lot more by telling the truth. Finally, and at last, we come to follow-up. And this is often the deal breaker for everybody. Now, we don't yet know what will come of the introduction of Anne and Diane. And now I sound like, I don't know, one of those horrible reality shows. But the truth is you really don't know. And if Anne does not follow up, or vice versa, what's going to come of their fledgling relationship? Not a darn thing. So you have to follow up, and not just with that day after or week of great to meet you email. Finally, I want to leave you with this thought, and by the way, you know, what we've done today is a very expressed overview of a number of different topics. We've addressed presentation, we've addressed image management, we've addressed electronic etiquette, relationship building. There's a lot. And the 7 Ups of successful leadership, again, are really a canopy of all the communications to drive what I call effective leadership behavior in terms of strategic and deliberate influence. My parting word is, if you're going to have a career-defining moment, make it a positive one, and that will solve all of these problems. Thank you, Olga. Thank you.